Welcome to Mental Use Volunteer Training. We're going to get you started on how to be prepared to volunteer at our after school programs. Just briefly, these are the things we'll cover: overview of the organization so you have a better understanding of who we are, what we're about, and why, how our students learn and behave, and then the support system that we provide to all of our volunteers. First, the overview: who is Mentor? So, for our mission, we are here to ensure that youth have a promising future by preparing them to excel in life, academics, and work. Our vision being that we are looking to provide a school to career pipeline right here in Washtenaw County by 2022. The reason for our mission is because we want to take a holistic approach and make sure kids are supported in all aspects of their life. And by providing a school to career pipeline, it ensures kids stay on track to graduate high school and have a promising career. Many of the youth that we serve, which I'll dig deeper into later on in this presentation, are ages 8 to 18, come from low-income backgrounds, primarily single-parent households. Many of our students are primarily minorities, and if they were to go to college, will be the first one in their family to do so. But many are struggling academically, where they might be one or two skill levels behind in reading or math, and do not always have a supporting environment to go to, whether it's in school, home, or their community. So, going back to our areas of focus, we support students through three offerings: emotional empowerment, hence our mentoring program; academic achievement, which would be our tutoring program in reading and math; and then college and career cultivation, which is our life skills program, where we bring in different organizations to do workshops that focus on promoting a future for college or going into their career. Our values. So we have a value system that we feel all our volunteers and staff must embody if they're going to be effectively able to engage the youth that we serve. And that acronym is mentors. And to go in depth into a part of this, the first thing is motivate. So motivating our young people to believe in themselves. Many of our kids have low self-esteem, a lack of self-confidence, or belief in themselves. Empowering our youth by providing them the tools and resources to succeed. If we say, James, one day you can become a doctor, then as an organization, we want to connect them with the resources that allows them to educate themselves on what it takes to become a doctor. Nurturing. One of our quotes that we stand by as an organization is this: a child may not always remember what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Kids need to know that we care about them. Simple as that. So being there and being compassionate and kind to them, showing that you're concerned and about their well-being and care about their well-being, is what is going to get a child to begin to be receptive towards you. Teaching youth how to become leaders. So teaching them the characteristics of what it means to lead, what it means to make the right decisions, what it means to communicate, all the characteristics of a strong leader. But we can't teach youth if we don't first observe them to understand what their needs are, what their personality is like, how to interact with their peers and other adults. In order, you have to listen, reaching out when they need a helping hand. So sometimes a kid will come in and they had a rough day at school. There's a lot of things that might be going on at home, and they just need somebody to talk to. But when you see somebody with a sad face, you're like, hey, James, what's wrong? Everything okay today? How are you feeling? I'm concerned. I'm concerned about you. What's going on? Just have a conversation with them. Showing consistency in word and deed. So being consistent in all the above values. Because it can't be where you come in one day and act a certain way, the next day you come in and are completely different. How will a kid trust you if you're not consistent? So at the end of each time you come and volunteer, what you want to do is key back to this value system to decide whether or not you were able to follow it and do these things for the kids you worked with that day. So for James, this is what we call our school to career pipeline and how we look to support kids throughout their scholastic career. So the first part is put them in a nurturing and positive environment. So putting them around caring volunteers, put around volunteers who are either college bound professionals in college, around volunteers who are happy to be there and have a positive attitude. And then making sure we provide them with the support they need academically and personally through tutoring and mentoring. And as James continues on, now we're providing life skills training. Now we're exposing them to different opportunities through college and career paths. So as they go along this pathway, they have an opportunity to be able to get the wraparound support that they need. If you're working with our Future Leaders program, you see that there are 3 items or 3 red boxes highlighted. Those are the ones that she'll be focusing on. So really laying the foundation for a child who's just joined our program at the age of 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. And then for the other boxes, more so those who are in middle school or teenagers, for those working in our BOSS program, really assisting them, making sure they have a plan in place so that when they leave high school, they know exactly what they need to do. But moving on, knowing our audience. So you'll find that in the next section of your training module, it will talk about roles of a mentor, and it'll talk about different learning styles more in depth, where you'll be able to watch a video. For right now, I'll speak on them briefly. There are 3 types of learners: visual, audio, and hands-on. For a visual learner, they will check and look at charts, pictures, graphs, other items that allows them to see the graphic. Then you have an audio learner, and those are more so those who can listen to a lecture, who need constant dialogue, group discussions, might need to have information repeated to them a couple of times before they retain it. Then with the hands-on learner, somebody who needs to be doing activities that are interactive, where there might be movement, utilizing their hands, such as arts and crafts, or some physical activity outside to help them learn. Many of our students we find are hands-on learners and visual learners. And this is important because of the fact that you want to be able to ensure you're communicating to them in the way they learn. So moving on to who is our audience. This is an example of a James, or if you want to make it a girl, a Jackie. But the point is, many of our kids are coming from this type of background. And because of that, maybe dealing with different behavioral concerns, not necessarily extreme, but have a lot of traumas they've dealt with, which is why they need somebody who cares about them and is there to support them. We'll just read some of these items. Well, this is a child who doesn't just need, a after-school program where you get to play the whole time. You know, those are great, however, though, and we want to make sure the kids are having fun. But each of these kids, like a James, these are intervention that goes in depth. They really support them in being able to move forward despite all these other things going on in their life. So these are the types of behaviors that we will see in the program. So oppositional, or another word for that is students who tell you no, are defiant, won't follow your instructions. Students who tend to get sidetracked and not pay attention um, quite frequently. Students are disruptive, and disruptive could be them talking out loud to other students, making noises. It could be them getting upset and frustrated, and then disrespectful, talking inappropriately to their peers or adults. So these are the different responses we have, which you'll learn about more in depth as you get involved into the program. But reinforcing our expectations is always the first choice that we use. We have a set of expectations that we go over all the time with the kids in order for them to know what is expected of them if they want to remain in the program. Then it switches where we might provide choices to students where they have the option of either doing what's asked of them, or they might sit out for an activity, standing near them or sitting down by a student to get them to concentrate and pay attention as necessary in order to be able to pull them from the classroom and not continue distracting others, having a conversation with them privately. A timeout, where they need to be removed from activities for the time being until they've shown that they're able to manage their emotions or handle following instructions. And the last resort is removing them from the class for that day. And as volunteers, you'll be able to assist in this process with our staff. And as we support you and train you, you'll get more comfortable in being able to utilize these types of responses. Moving into our support system. So these are the different types of resources that we are able to provide to our volunteers to best support you. On site, at the programs through our resource binder, through our website, staff, and your other volunteers. So on any site, there'll always be a resource binder that provides how-to guides, daily procedures, different forms that might need to be filled out, like maybe there's an incident that occurs and you witnessed it. You would fill out an incident form, a schedule of activities for that day. That way you're aware of our routine on our website. Let's say you say, hey, you talk to a staff and say, I wasn't sure how to handle that conflict that came up. We'll have some videos and webinars you can watch that might focus on conflict management. And staff. Always have an opportunity to be able to have a conversation with staff to see how you might prepare for lesson plans. You'll get weekly updates on what lessons and things will be going on for that week for your particular program. There'll be opportunities to have more advanced trainings than this one that might focus on a specific topic like classroom management, leadership, conflict resolution, how to engage youth, and then coaching from our staff. And you always have an opportunity to be able to shadow current volunteers to understand how the program operates, what are some of the norms, and pick their brain about their experience. These are some of the most asked questions. However, we're going to recommend that you write down your questions. And that way, in the follow-up phone call with one of our staff, you'll be able to ask those questions and get them answered. Well, there's some do's don'ts, and some basic questions. Some of our do's is I want you to be happy, be fun, be encouraging, and be ready to work. Nobody wants to have somebody walk in a room who is depressed or upset, because in turn that impacts the mood of the kids. So you want to be happy. The kids want to know that you're happy to see them. Be fun. Yes, we're coming in and being ready to work. We have some things to be able to support them in, but we also want to make sure we're having fun with the kids. Because when kids see you know how to have fun, that's how they become receptive to you. That's also how they learn. Be encouraging. Going back to it, kids might be lacking self-esteem, therefore we always have to stay positive. And be ready to work. Right when you come in, we'll do a quick overview of what the program or day will look like. And then once the kids come in, we'll get started immediately. So when you come in, be ready to work. If you have questions, always ask them. Don't be late. If kids see that you're showing up late, they might show up late too, because they're role modeling your behavior and actions. If you have had some problems that day, make sure you leave them at the door, because if you have a bad mood, once again, as role models, kids might emulate your behavior. Understand not to be judgmental. As we shared, think about where some of these kids' backgrounds are coming from, and what they've had to deal with at a very young age. So if they are behind, in a school standpoint, or don't have some of the emotional maturity that you would think they would for their age, that's okay. That's why we're there to help them, but not to judge them for it. Going back to having fun. So it's okay to be serious when it's time to be serious, but also loosening up and having fun with the kids. Questions. What do I do next? So after this presentation, you'll want to go follow the next steps in the training module. So the next thing you'll go to is looking over the role models section tab. Your first day will be like for any program. When you first come in, the first 10 to 15 minutes before the program starts, you'll get an overview, may help set up program materials and supplies. Once kids come in, either we'll have snack or do an icebreaker, and then you'll be placed in a small group with children as we get into our activities to assist them. And then from there, we'll have game time towards the end of the program, where we might do physical activities, some that's really active. So you want to make sure that you're dressed appropriately to be able to potentially move around, as we have a gym at all of our locations. So tennis shoes, something that's loose fitting, that way you're able to be a part of those physical activities with the kids. This is the having fun part. If you have questions, we'll cover that in the phone conversation, but we'll show you the email in a second of who you would contact. And then based on the staff vault by email of sending you the lesson for that day, you'll know how to prepare, what the lesson will be about through the weekly updates. So if you do have questions, you'll want to contact info@MentoredYouth by email, or you can reach us at our office number. If you're never able to get in contact with anybody at our main office, you can always reach out to a staff member directly at this number. Feel free to also go to Facebook and like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, as we put a lot of updates and posts from there. And then if you want to go and look at our YouTube page, we have a variety of videos on our YouTube page from different highlights and events in the past. But this concludes your introductory training. Now please go back to please go back to the next module and review roles of a mentor.